Yo, what is up? Bitcoin's flashing some bearish signs that confirm today on the daily. We're going to go over it. Go ahead and get situated. And it's going to be another good stream. Let me do my post. I'll be right back. Oh shit, we're muted. Yo, what's up, guys? Man, I hope you guys are getting after it, man. I hope you guys are not sitting around waiting for price to go up. I hope you're freaking killing it, working on yourselves. We got blood diamonds, man. On the standard candles, we've got blood diamonds that propagated on April 12th. If we go hike into She, you got a blood diamond that just you got a blood diamond that just confirmed yesterday when we got that candle close this evening. How we doing in the chats? How's everyone doing in the chats? What's up, Coons? Good to have you in, man. Thanks for modding. Rye Guy says, what the hell were you watching? Just some humanity, man. Just humanity, people doing good things for other people, man. I don't know. You guys were watching it. I wasn't watching it. But it was a good day for me. Hopefully it was a good day for you guys. I got my 100 push-ups in. I was doing Navy SEAL burpees. Went to Costco, did some shopping. Made a couple phone calls. It was a good day. Man, are we dumping? Is it gonna dump from these macro signs? What do you guys think? Put a 1 in the chat if you're bearish on the macro. Put a 2 in the chat too if you're bullish on the macro. I want to see some 1s and 2s. We're seeing some blood diamond action here. And we are under the Q2 anchor. You know, the fact that we're under that Q2 anchor gives us that slant, that kind of a bearish bias, and we're not really swing long, and we're not really 8 mode until we overcome Q2. You know, I told you guys, like, I don't really go 8 mode until we overcome the red anchor that started on April 1st, that Q2 anchor. See this red line right here? Until we get over that line, the bears are in control. We do have some good supports. We've got the FG push-up line, that volume-weighted sentiment that generated back here. We got the poop line, that brown line, which is basically a volume-weighted sentiment attached to our January 23rd bottom after the ETF dump, which acted as some decent support. And we also have the year-to-date anchor, which is attached to the first of the year. Alif Ahmed says, what indicator is that? It's an anchored VWAP. It's a volume-weighted average price, Alif. It just takes the price and the volume and turns it into a line that we can use as it's useful in many different ways. On the macro, gives you your environmental readings, whether it's sloped up or sideways. On the middle time frames, it helps you plan your trades. Like for instance, this week we planned a short setup around the Q2 anchor as we came up and rammed our heads on that major resistance overhead on that red anchor there. And then on the smaller time frames, it helps you with your execution sometimes. So sometimes you need the intraday VWAP, the white line on NickCipher SR to actually get you in. But sometimes you get trades off of the anchors here. Ragai says, do I use any moving average or am I just plotting anchored VWAPs? That's a good question, man. I actually am using, right now I have the secret weapon enabled, which is something that CF and his guy are backtesting still. They're still doing work on this, but they have it enabled for me. I'm still exploring the settings myself, but it looks like they're using a 20 EMA on this, which if we go to the daily, you can see looks like that is bearish. See how the ribbon is gray on the secret weapon? So secret weapon is flipping bearish off of this resistance here, just like how it did like back here, like, you know, see how it turns gray and you start getting that downtrend. So we're starting to see the start of a little downtrend here on the secret weapon. I like the colors too. I like the colors. It like changes the candle color. Still getting used to it, but it kind of takes the best from DBSI and A and slams them into one indicator. So I still got to do more work back testing it and looking at it myself. I gave CF and his dudes some recommendations, such as perhaps the option to employ a fixed EMA, an EMA that is the same across all time frames. So you could use maybe like a 5-day moving average, but then go onto the scalp time frames and still see that 5-day moving average. That's the kind of settings that I would like to see. So yeah, we're working on it. It's going to be a powerful tool for you guys down the line. I just don't have any dates on when Secret Weapon's going to come out for you. But right now, Secret Weapon is looking a little bearish. You got the Blood Diamond on the 1 day. It's turning gray, and that's backed up by our volume weighted anchor macro analysis that we do on this channel. The anchored VWAPs are my specialty. Obviously, I didn't invent them. They're Brian Shannon's invention. They're the evolution of the intraday VWAP, which is that white intraday day trading tool that's been around for decades. It's a really good steady guide for your intraday price action. But obviously, like, that's just a basically like an anchored VWAP that's anchored at the start of each day. You could take this calculation, apply it to any scale, like daily, weekly, monthly, annually. And so that's what these anchors are. They're volume weighted. It's not just a moving average. It's a very useful key. I mean, you could see how these lines are respected. It's kind of harder to see with the Heiken Ashi, so I tend to use standard candles on these. But you can see how, like, over here, you know, this anchor here was like a great area for longs, and then it became resistance, and the year to date was like a really great support level for us during the low. So overall, the anchors have done a really good job giving the NickCipher community like powerful key levels to work with. The most recent one that was the banger was the Q2. We kind of saw it coming from a mile away. Like, as soon as we were hitting these year-to-date lows, the next logical move from there is that we go back up to Q2 and then fail, right? Because we hadn't even tested Q2 as resistance yet, and so we finally got that resistance test. And so it is possible that you know, off these bearish signs, it just simply stops going up. It doesn't necessarily have to roll over and capitulate on us. We could just be simply seeing some boring action, you know, through the first few weeks of May. It could be something like this, which is evidenced by the anchors being so sideways. It's not like we're below the anchors and they're all sloped down and we're in this like really bad. There isn't even really an area that I could really compare to. But the only anchor that's really sloped down on us is the Q2 anchor. It's a pretty dastardly anchor. It is really important. It's almost as important as the year-to-date anchor. So we simply just don't go ape mode on Bitcoin until we overcome Q2. This line to me represents Q2 itself. It's like the final boss. Crypto Coons, thanks for shouting out my email, man. If you guys are curious about scheduling a consultation or joining my VIP to get the faster scoop on my analysis, you can shoot me an email, tell me a little bit about yourself, and we'll start talking. Man, these hoodies are from an old merch store. I actually have like a lot of merch in my garage right now. So if I go to events, like I'll take the merch with me. Like I'll bring some to Vegas for the moon party, which, by the way, we got that moon party on May 3rd through May 5th. Got Crown Chakra there and a bunch of other blockchain artists. I'll be there at Club Ego. And then my brother and the gang, the Mike Perry gang, are going to be in LA for this BKFC event going on. It's going to be a crazy fight. This is happening on the 27th. So you got one more day and then this shit's going down, man. It's crazy how fast this month went by. So yeah, we got some good events. Kind of a mixed day for cryptos. These are your winners. You got this, like, you know, this, man. It is kind of a mixed day. Nothing going too crazy, but kind of all over the place, man. When I look at the Bitcoin dominance, we're definitely getting tired, bro. Like, I definitely see on the weekly, like, we're looking hella divergent as we approach the 618 retracement level here. This looks like it really needs to correct down, and you see like some of the alts kind of poking through and like having these little pumps and shit, and it's like we're really on the cusp of a powerful alt season, I think. The ETH BTC chart's another thing I'm looking at, where like we're getting this bullish divergence here, and yet we still haven't overcome the Q2 anchor down here. The secret weapon, like EMAs are still like very bearish. Like we're still in this gray ribbon kind of environment. And so it's just simply not the time to be like swapping a lot of Bitcoin to ETH right now. But it is coming. Something's cooking for sure. If we look at Sol BTC, it's like just now flipping into a bearish stance. Got the Q2 anchor, and I believe, is this the year-to-date anchor? The year-to-date anchor now acting as resistance for Sol BTC. So yeah, a lot of people hyping up Solano, but right now Solano's not in a good spot in my opinion. Not in the best position, at least until further notice. So Bitcoin on the macro, guys, the weekly is just on the cusp of losing its runaway train status. This is a very foreboding sign. When this happened in the past, we had a major correction. We had plenty of warning. We had a good 2 weeks to get out of Bitcoin before it really went down, like really went down hard. So this signal of us leaving the 60 line is quite foreboding. Here's another time it happened. Looks like when this happened, the show was already over, and we did only come over the 60 for a little bit of time there, but by the time we cooled off, like the correction had pretty much already happened. And then over here, this really did get you out at the top. Like back here, we crossed below that 60 line, and it was definitely the start of a multi-month correction there. Let's go back even further. Let's go to the BLX chart, so you can see like when we crossed below the 60 line back here in 2018, that was also the start of some nasty shit, man. Now sometimes when we're in these bull runs, it does go below, but then we get that green dot, we come back up. But it's a very foreboding sign. Like it's almost not worth holding on to Bitcoin and just hoping and praying when we're under the 60. If your whole strategy is this big momentum play on Bitcoin, then you could just simply wait for it to come back over the 60 line and then like reignite your exposure to it. So just an idea, not financial advice, but when the weekly crosses below the 60 line, just get ready for pain, man. Get ready for pain. And we are floating with the idea of losing that 60 line. The 2 week got that red dot sloping down, still strong over the 60 line, still looking good, but honestly, like directionally, it's down right now. Even though we have high levels of market momentum, big things could, in theory, happen right now at this point. It's just simply still aiming down. The yellow oscillator still aiming down. Willem says, any update on the treasury bonds? Let's look, man. So when I look at this yield curve, we're looking for when this crosses over zero, right? It's actually making its way up there. You got the money flow curving up on the 2 week. When we look at the weekly, it's still doing its thing. It's still creeping its way up, man. When it does finally make its move, it tends to move quickly. Let me go to the regular, let's see, log scale, regular scale. Here we go, regular scale. I think secret weapon might be messing with it, or here we go. Yeah, man, I mean, we're creeping up for sure. And we're looking at potentially this uninverting some point soon, actually. Some point this year. Just some point, like from here to here, I could totally see us uninverting, man. And that would be a bad sign for the stock markets for sure. It'd be a bad sign for, in fact, crypto hasn't even been around. Like last time this uninverted was in 2007. So crypto is basically just a big part of the everything bubble. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to cryptocurrency. I believe that Bitcoin makes it, but nothing else makes it pretty much. Awareness says, caught another live. Let's get it. What's up, FG? How are you, my brother? Doing good, man. Doing good. Got my 100 push-ups in. Did some shopping. Made some phone calls. It was a great day, man. Hope it was a good day for you. Hope you're getting after it. Yeah, I'm on that West Coast life, bro. Yeah, the East Coasters are all mad, man. The East Coasters are super salty. But I know my D-gens and I know there's a lot of people around the world that are up right now. And so I'm here for you guys. There's plenty of MC streamers that go live in the mornings during the day. You guys are hella spoiled. About time someone came in and took the night slot. So yeah, I'm not gonna feel too bad. Even if I have less viewers, this is just when I feel comfortable streaming right now, man. I wake up kind of later in the day, handle all the stuff that I gotta do. I gotta prioritize my sleep and my diet and my push-ups and the business. And so by the time I handle all my stuff, I see that daily candle close and I start forming ideas for you guys. That's kind of like the flow state that I've been on. Whereas everybody, you know, has to analyze a stale daily candle, I kind of get to come in a couple hours after the close and you know, get on shit while it's hot. You know what I'm saying? Let's check the S&P here. Probably nothing too different on the S&P from yesterday, but you do see the DBSI on our weekly, the secret weapon flipping bearish here on the weekly. What about the daily? Daily actually flipped bullish recently. So the S&P has been clinging on to its year-to-date anchor decently enough for the time being. Seen a little bit of strength on that. Can it make a play up to this is the, let's see, this is the March anchor right here. The green is March anchor, but the Q2 has been coming down steeper. Q2 is like our major overhead resistance. It looks like we got this correction off of the February anchor though. Like the February, it's purple here. The February anchor for some reason acted as resistance for the S&P. I would have expected this to just simply run up to the Q2 anchor, then see some corrections, but it's hard to say if this is more bearish that it didn't reach there, or if this is a case for it to actually still continue up and hit that Q2 anchor. But right now the S&P is clinging to its year to date. So far, nothing crazy concerning on the S&P quite yet. It could just be another little micro correction in the bigger pump. But obviously later in the year, like as this everything bubble keeps going, we are going to see some dastardly signs such as these, like the yield curve uninverting. Like this could happen next week, or it could happen later in the year. I'm really not sure, guys. I'm really not sure. If we look at the NASDAQ's been struggling with its year to date, and it's bearish under the secret weapon. The secret weapon turned gray on it. We are seeing bearish divergence here on the weekly. You see the waves tumbling down despite the price coming up, and there's plenty of market structure down here we could explore. NASDAQ's not looking too hot. If S&P loses its year-to-date anchor, that's definitely concerning. If Bitcoin has been holding steady on its year-to-date, almost like it's a step ahead of the S&P, because whereas the S&P is struggling with its year-to-date, Bitcoin's up here tussling with its quarter two. So Bitcoin from a volume-weighted anchor standpoint is a step ahead of the S&P, but we did see a short off that Q2. And so I did post in the VIP that we were seeing like a 4-hour anchor trigger, a potential long back up to the Q2. You could see these deep anchor waves, and then you got this trigger wave here. Right now we're seeing some turbulence. We're seeing a red dot aiming back down. The oscillator is flipping back down on us. Looks like this FG push-up line, the yellow anchor that I placed on the day I started my push-up challenge back here, interestingly enough, is serving as like some resistance in the short term for us. So it's yet to be said whether we have to come back down and do a hard test of the poop line down here, or if this is just a little blip and we do get to come up but I'm kind of leaning more bearish, guys. I'm kind of leaning bearish, just because what backup do we have on the bigger time frames? The 2-week looks like crap. The weekly's on the cusp of failure. We're just not seeing like the low buy signals. Like, we're not seeing RSIs nice and low or anything super convincing. And then the daily, like, we definitely had some, like, a nice deep wave here, but that already played out, and so we're kind of just waiting for, I guess, these RSIs to plunge down a little bit lower and give us a more solid buying opportunity on the daily. We got the blood diamonds, so whether you're on standard or Heiken Ashi, the blood diamonds are starting to pop up, which are very rare indications on the daily, and definitely not something we want to ignore. It's my duty to come out and read Market Cipher for you guys. So if you know, I'm doing 100 push-ups a day until Bitcoin hits 100K, but that doesn't mean I'm not cool with this market coming down lower. It means I get more jacked. It's more time for the common man to get into Bitcoin, and it's just more time to raise Bitcoin awareness and to work on ourselves and work on man, we just got to get after it, man. There's more time. We got more time before we enter a world where Bitcoin is 100K. It's actually a blessing in disguise. One reason I think it might be going down is obviously you look at the ETF net flows here, and overall, like, the net inflows and outflows are negative. You see that I mean, this does tend to coincide. I almost feel like it's quite ape-like. Like, the inflows and outflows are very ape-like. Like, let me explain. Like, when these are high on March 11th, for instance, this was like March 12th, our inflows were at their highest. If I go to March 12th, like, we were at the top. Like, so basically the inflows were highest at the top of the market. You see that? On March 12th, we were at the high, and yet the inflows were also at their high. And then on March 19th, the inflows were low, at their lowest. Well, where were we on March 19th? We were at the low. We were at the low there. And so, yeah, it's, these inflows and outflows are like quite ape-like. They seem to kind of just be going along with the price. Like, when the price goes up, the inflows go up. When the price goes down, the outflows are up. So, but the overall trend right now, guys, is that you know, I believe it's oh man, I'm not the best with this, but there's BlackRock, which is like buying a bunch of Bitcoin. They have like steady inflows, although they seem to be slowing down. What's the other one, man? I'm freaking blanking. Grayscale. Grayscale has like more Bitcoin than like America and China combined. So they just have this like infinite supply of Bitcoin to sell, and they've been selling. Like, their investors were getting good prices like the last couple years, and now all of them are like at break even. Like, it's basically like a 0% discount for them now, so it's like a perfect profit taking point in the markets for them. And so Grayscale's been selling. Grayscale's been dumping on everybody, basically. But there isn't really much I don't know, they seem to just kind of correlate. Like, when price is up, so are the flows, and when the price is down, so are the flows, you know. Right now the flows are down and negative, so it's just coinciding with what we're seeing on the charts. That who knows if Bitcoin actually has to go lower, or if it's just more sideways, more selling off. Not really sure, but right now it just seems like a halt to the pumps until these bearish macro signs blow over, man. We got some really bad signs. We got a weekly that's about to die, 2-week looking bad, monthly looking a little pinched with the yellow oscillator aiming down, and the blood diamonds on the daily under the Q2 anchor. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right now, guys. It's going to be interesting how the alt markets respond to this. Obviously, if Bitcoin goes down, the alt markets are going to struggle. I actually got a feeling like ETH BTC, this chart ETH BTC, is not going to overcome its Q2 anchor quite yet. I think it's actually going to go down lower again and disappoint us again. I'm just imagining all the people that have been like accumulating ETH and trying to knife catch ETH and like sell Bitcoin for ETH, thinking that like one of these bull divs is going to play out. It's still in that like knife catchy institutional dirty work kind of phase. Like I just want to see a little more strength in the same fashion of like I want to see Bitcoin come up and put daily closes over Q2. I want some proof that Q2 is a good quarter for Bitcoin before I start telling my community to froth at the mouth about it, right? So in the same sense, I want to see that Q2 is going to be good for this ETH BTC trend before I start talking about it in a positive light. So I'm looking for a little bit of strength after the dip before I get overly hopeful for you guys. Trying to be responsible here. But yeah, the inflows not just slowing down. We got to talk about outflows, bro. We got to talk about, it's not even about inflows anymore. It's about how are the outflows doing? Are the outflows getting less negative yet? So yeah, man, the big dogs are selling, perhaps responsibly. Perhaps they don't want to crash the markets down. Maybe, I'm not sure, man. Maybe they're just kind of like shaving a little off the pig, knowing that like retail is going to keep kind of accumulating. The lesser big dogs are going to keep accumulating. But if we look historically at these signals on Market Cipher B, we have gotten massive drops in the past. Yeah, got to come out and talk about it with you guys. Kind of exciting times because we have the ability to short, right? If we get evidence of a clear downtrend, then don't be afraid to favor shorts. Don't be afraid to short an anchor. Don't be afraid to look for a bearish trigger wave. We're traders, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look at this 30-minute. Look at the 30-minute. You had an anchor trigger set up there, and you got a nice little short there. Oh, this is ETH BTC. My bad. I'm stupid. But on Bitcoin, we just had an amazing short scalp. Look at this short scalp here. You see that bearish anchor trigger off the Q2 anchor. Bam! Good 5-6%. So, yeah, we go both directions, man. There's opportunity every day. I would implore, what the hell is the word? Implore? I would implore you guys to not sit around waiting for prices to go up. You got to get after it, man. You got to be working on your life. You got to be not afraid to short a market. You got to be moving up despite the world looking bleak. The world has nothing to do with you, man. You're just one person in this sea of shit that you have no control over, but you do have control over your own life. You have control over your own money and your own body. The markets, whatever happens in the markets doesn't change that. So don't let a bear market get you into this like doomer, negative spirituality, like black hole where you get depressed again, you get fat, you start playing World of Warcraft again and burying your head in the sand. That's definitely not the life that I'm gonna let my community have, man. We're gonna keep watching the Bitcoin price. We're gonna keep being grateful. We're gonna keep putting the work in, and we're just gonna keep showing up, man. That's how this shit works. So these H barbarians, man, continuing to get fleeced. Still under the intraday VWAP here. My squiggly line's kind of playing out. We got a little up on the, see, look, we got a little up hump. Who knows, man? Right now we're under the intraday, so I had this idea that the H barbarians get fleeced all the way down back into this rising up channel, and maybe it is a good project to invest in, but is it going to trend well on Bitcoin or ETH? Who knows, man? But it was a hopeful bit of news that they got, but it's probably going to get sold off all the way back down to this rising channel. What else we got here? I don't even like looking at some of these shit coins like Litecoin. I don't even like looking at this. It did have like a decent little day. I don't even want to look at that right now. Checking out Solana right now. Solana weekly just lost the 60 line. Very bleak outlook on the weekly here. Looking a little bleak today, guys, but if things turn up, if I stream every weekday, so if there's a day where this looks better, then I'll call it out. But right now Solana is looking a little weak. Once the weekly we lose that, it's like we need to see it's kind of guilty until proven innocent, man. Awareness, BTC 30 minute. He says BTC 30 minute looking like we could get a move to the upside. Looks like so we got that daily reset, bro, on the intraday VWAP, which is that white line. Came down a little bit of drawdown, but we shot back up. Gave us that anchor wave. Looks like we're getting a second anchor wave. I wouldn't call this a trigger wave because it also went below the 60 line. So you are getting the start of like an anchor trigger kind of multi-wave uptrend here, something like that going on. That being said, I would be weary of this slipping below the intraday VWAP. That would be your sign that the downtrend is going to continue lower. But if we can get some traction on the intraday VWAP, along with perhaps like a small trigger wave, some kind of rounded, like this kind of comes up like this, and just anything, any kind of like higher low on the blue wave would be nice, and some action over the intraday would be good to hop onto a little long on there for you. But right now it looks a little nascent, a little premature. You just kind of got a second anchor wave. The anchor trigger, you save a lot of trouble if you let that redundancy. Be patient for those redundancies. The trigger wave gives you that clear uptrend in the blue wave momentum. That saves you a lot of trouble, because sometimes the price has to go lower, then you get that trigger wave and it's like a bullish divergence and it looks extra juicy. And yeah, we kind of have this bearish slant. Like the macro time frame doesn't really have your back right now, right? So trading is all about like stacking cards. Like if you can stack, imagine a bunch of 50% odds, a bunch of coin flips all stacked on top of each other. It really matters to have them all stacked, And so the fact that the big time frames don't really have our backs almost makes you feel like waiting for shorts is like a better angle to go for right now, at least until the environment changes. But we're also in a consolidation. We're in a choppy range. We're ranging from 59 to 73, but we're also in the middle of that range. We're smashed between these volume weighted sentiments. There could be a short down to the poop line or a long up to the Q2, and that would really not affect the overall trajectory of this range. So it's like anything could technically happen in this range. But I would say that the cards are stacking bearish from top down. Like if there's any bullish activity, it's some grassroots bubbling up from below type stuff. Awareness says, yeah, I'm talking from scalp only. Sorry, your title says macro. Yeah, man, no problem. I think we're definitely in scalping territory here, even though we're going to talk about those macro signs since we're in the middle of all these warring anchored VWAP sentiments here. We're not over here. We're not on top of the gulag with clear skies able to swing long, right? We're not below like the year to date thinking we could swing short. We're just in the middle here. And so this is where a lot of people give their money back to the market. You ride that wave, you ride the wave up, and you get lost in the chop. So be careful of that. Protect your capital. Recognize how many cards are stacked in your favor before you enter a trade. I haven't been leverage trading in this shit. I like to leverage trade momentum plays When we're over the 60 line and it's like up only, then I whip out the leverage. But until then, it's like spot moves and kind of just waiting and seeing. Like I have a lot of patience when it comes to this shit. Just because some pencil neck wants me to trade doesn't mean like I will. But that being said, like cryptocurrency is my passion. Like I gotta come out every day, man, for this shit, for my company, for you guys, and because this is what I love to do. Tesla Man says we're a bunch of market cipher princesses. I guess we're spoiled. Nah, man, we're kings and queens of the charts. Man, what else could we cover here? Let's look at the crypto news, see if there's anything interesting. If you guys got any questions for me in the chat, go ahead and drop them. Any market cipher questions, any Q&As. You guys hear about Joe Biden like talking about taxing capital gains, like just all capital gains, like not even once you take profit, like just taxing the gains before you even sell. That shit's crazy, man. What would that do to the markets if you like had to sell off your investments just to pay taxes? Like what would that do to the markets, man? Is he just like being stupid and talking out his ass, or is that actually going to happen? That's like, that makes investors like kind of like, what the hell is going on, man? That's another reason why like things are looking weird right now, is because our government's just like stupid, bro. Cassius Kive says, how do I turn on those lines that include the poop line? That's a good question, man. So it's an anchored VWAP, so it's not an indicator. Even though it is an indicator, it's actually in the drawing tools over here, Cassius. You go to anchored VWAP, and I like to go to the daily on my standard candles. And there's a couple spots that you would put an anchor, right? There's interval-based anchored VWAPs. There's like first of the month, first of the quarter, first of the year. So if it's first of the year, that would be your year-to-date anchor, right? Or like first of the week, you could do like weekly anchors. And these all work. They actually all do a good job of providing key levels for you. But this is my personal web here. So we have the first of the year, the January 1st purple anchor here, which you can see that Bitcoin after the ETF had a little bit of drawdown. But once we overcame that year-to-date anchor, that was all she wrote. And this acted as a really nice support level recently. So the year-to-date came back into play recently, and it's still going to be acting as support until further notice. So that's a really important level of interest. I also have the poop line, which is just an anchor that I placed. It's a technical analysis based anchor, purely based off of a relevant price low. That's this poop line here. That's that up only sentiment generated by that low there. I got one placed on the day that I started my push-up challenge. I got one placed at this low here on February 23rd. You should be able to see it in your drawing tools, Cassius, if you go to the projection, the long and short position tool area, and you go to volume-based indicators. It's right in the same family as your volume profiles. But yeah, make sure that you click them once you do place one. Select OHLC4 so that it generates at the exact midpoint of the open, the high, the low, and the close. And I don't have the bands. You could enable these bands, but I like to just add additional VWAPs as opposed to trading or forming ideas with projections of VWAPs. And yeah, I like to do them on the daily. If it's a substantial VWAP, such as a quarterly or monthly or whatever kind of VWAP, like I got one off this 10% correction that we got on March 5th. That was an amazing, not only was it the neckline of this bottom here, it was also like catching longs during the hype phase. helped us understand what was going on up here with these two false breakouts here. And it all ultimately served as another resistance level that we just hit recently. So, I mean, these anchors continue to just keep playing out and keep playing out. It's amazing, man. It's absolutely amazing. I think it's because it's volume weighted. When the price comes down to these lines, there, you know, you can trust that there's buyers there, there's liquidity there, at least ready to participate. It's not a guaranteed bounce or rejection point, but it's a major point of interest. And it's just a point where you know a bunch of traders are going to come in and make a decision. So imagine volume like fire, prices like water, because money flows from hand to hand, right? Money's like water, but volume is like fire. That's like the number of people trading, the number of shares being traded. That's like market friction, right? And so you combine the water and the fire, you get steam. So these anchored VWAPs are like a steam powered engine. When you hit one of these lines, you typically see some movement, man. Yeah, it's been a good guide for our community. A lot of the traders in my Discord are swearing by these anchors. It's also a good way to talk about the markets. Like, not many analysts talk about quarterly analysis. They're kind of stuck in the chop. They're stuck on that daily chart or the weekly chart or whatever. But if you guys notice the way I talk about markets, like I'm talking like, is Q2, you know, when we come up and hit this red anchor here, we're making a statement about you know, how Q2 is going to be for Bitcoin. If we slam and reject off that red line, then that's the idea that Q2 isn't done with from a bearish standpoint. If we can overcome that, then Q2 starts looking more hopeful for Bitcoin. But as of right now, Q2 has been not that great for Bitcoin. Tesla Man says, is the Q2 anchor at 67? Right now it is falling. Right now it's at 66,468. Yeah, Tesla Man says, I want a short Q2. That's the mode that I've been in since we hit the year to date. So since we came down and hit these lows, my next thought was, damn, now we got to come up. We're not out of the woods yet. Just because you hit a bottom doesn't mean that you're going to come up here and just supersede Q2 like that. We're going to have to test that volume weighted Q2 sentiment. And lo and behold, we at least get a short scalp there. If this does come up and those blood diamonds get invalidated or messed up with or whatever, and they're just wrong, that's fine. But why would you pray for a miracle instead of just going with the flow? Just go with the idea. We're just gonna chill, go with the idea that Q2 sucks until we see candles trending over Q2. You know, just keep it simple. We're talking about outflows now. We're not talking about inflows. Zeed Carmote says, what is the chance that Bitcoin is topped if really the weekly, 2 weekly, and monthly dot printed? Do you believe this would be the top for this cycle? I believe that if this is a top and we see a major correction down to fill this market structure, we would still look pretty good overall. Like, we could dump down into the 40s and Bitcoin, it would almost be like a gigantic sigh of relief if this thing grinded down slowly and chewed through these anchors basically until like Q4 of this year. You know, it could be something like that. Would that be the end of the cycle? Hell no, dude. The cycle is playing out on this larger time scale. You know, it would just be what I guess what I would compare it to in my experience in Bitcoin is it would be kind of something like psychologically what happened here. You know, like back in 2019, we got this big run in Bitcoin and it was looking crazy stupid, right? But we did have to get another year of down, and then we got some major follow through. So do you guys see this like there was a mini bull bear cycle in between the larger, see this like larger bear cycle we had? So in that bear cycle was a little mini bull bear cycle. And so what we're seeing is, I guess a good way to put this would be that we would see a miniature bull bear cycle inside of a larger macro bull cycle. That's like the closest I could get to explaining what I'm thinking. Just giving you like a real life example of something Bitcoin's done in the past. And it pretty much just comes down to grayscale dumping. Just grayscale taking a shit ton of profits. Yeah. We're going to stay doing this every day though, man. We're going to stay in here. First of all, I'm going to be hella jacked. If we get a bear cycle in this larger bull cycle, then that's awesome, bro. I'll be like Spider-Man, like jumping off walls and like hop around like a frog. I will become Pepe the Frog by the time this shit's over and we hit 100K. That'd be awesome. If we just simply mooned up to 100K, that would have been bad for me, man. It would have gotten to my head. I wouldn't have even gotten that strong, and I probably would have turned into a dick. You know, this kind of hump is something like that happened, a little mini bear cycle that would humble us justly. You know what I'm saying? Think about how hypey crypto Twitter was at these levels, you know, and now all these people have egg in their face. That's what we want. We want the market to humble the prideful and the greedy, you know. Let's get to a point where we stretch this out and people feel some real fear about Bitcoin again. That's kind of what the market needs. But yeah, I think that's it for today's stream. Pretty much just covering our basic charts, man. Honestly, the action hasn't been too exciting this week. We just got like a short off Q2, and I just have to keep updating like how that short move is doing. But we do get those bearish signs on the daily that just confirmed the blood diamonds and everything. And obviously we cannot ignore the weekly and the 2 week. And yeah, I just want you guys to protect yourselves, you know, make sure that you're in the position to potentially prepare for like a mini bear cycle in a larger bull cycle. Just because we've got negative inflows. It's not negative inflows, it's freaking outflows now, man. So yeah, and we're under Q2. But I'm happy to change my tune. If we can pump, you know, next week or something or whatever, if we start pumping and we get over Q2, that anchor, I put out a stream a couple, like last week or whatever. It was like, is it time to 8 mode yet? And in that stream I said, no, I'm not going to go 8 mode until we overcome Q2. And so I'm going to stick by that. If somehow we can flip the script, then you'll hear it here first. But as for now, we have to respect these bearish signs. So I'm happy to share them with you guys. And this was a good stream. Happy to have you guys in here late at night with me. And make sure you guys get a good night's sleep. Get your 100 push-ups in. Hug your family, kiss them, and tell them you love them. And God bless you guys. Thank